October 8, 2024, the government team met with the leadership of organized labor and Ghana Employers Association. Following this meeting, government offered enhanced and time-bound measures in respect of our demands and the fight against illegal mining. Organized labor has therefore decided to suspend the internal strike action. We are calling all workers to report for work on 10th of October 2024 and beyond.
As we speak, we are left with 2 months into December elections. By the time the state will go through the processes of declaring a state of emergency, we may have gotten closer to elections. And when the state of emergency is declared also around that time, it is going to even affect the 7th December elections. You don't know the areas in this country where the state of emergency will be declared.
But you knew this before you made a call.
Yeah, we knew this before we made the call because we wanted to achieve certain things. The major thing we want to achieve was the revocation of the LI that allow mining in our forest reserve, and we have achieved just
clearly no deadlines. Some of us were even we even wanted to be given the opportunity to say that, well, if this is the route to go, then let us even subject government to strict deadlines. They said they will not let us talk.
Does that suggest that even in the meeting you were not allowed to bring?
In the meeting we were not. I mean, I made my first point. Others, a few people spoke, and if you are speaking, then the chairman gets up and says he doesn't want you to talk. And so, if you want to make further suggestions, we didn't finish the meeting, and they call you guys to be to join the meeting. You do not call a meeting and then go with a prepared speech. Otherwise, no, prepared speech that are conclusive. No, the speech has its own conclusion. We had not spoken. We had not discussed. And then you came, and then when we had not even discussed it, so we are calling off the strike. On what basis? What was the basis? It means you sat in the comfort of your bedroom with the politician who manipulated you to come and read this to us. I mean, they have people they can manipulate, but not some of us.
Welcome back. It's time for the big stories here. Industrial action or not, the University Teachers Association has declared an indefinite strike from today, the 10th of October 2024, across all 15 member branches after an emergency meeting triggered by a U-turn from organized labor to suspend the much-anticipated nationwide shutdown against the Galamsey menace. That was set to take effect from today for the reason that the government had enhanced measures to deal with illegal mining, a position UTAG is vehemently opposed to. So where does all of this leave us? Where does it leave government in the fight against Galamsey? Where does it leave the rest of us in dealing with this canker? Well, joining the conversation, we have Professor Mahmoud Akurugu. He is National President of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. They are embarking on their industrial action from today. We also have Professor Kwesi Enning, a security analyst, joining the conversation. Prof and Prof, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, Prof. Enning.
It's a pleasure having you join the conversation. Let's start with you, Professor Enning, in terms of what has happened so far and your reaction. Any disappointments, any surprises in the position of organized labor? Yesterday, we were talking about rumors that money had exchanged hands. Your take, your initial thoughts.
Well, I think yesterday when we spoke, I indicated to you that nothing was going to happen, that it's not for ordinary citizens to push government to declare a state of emergency. And actually the routine procedure is that governments, responsible governments, declare a state of emergency because a series of activities or incidences begin to pose an existential threat to the state that needs extraordinary measures. And that I have not seen anything to demonstrate to me that there was a certain willingness, desire to tackle this environmental catastrophe that we are seeing. But also already by yesterday, there were indications that the front of organized labor was beginning to splinter. So today, and let me doff off my hat to Professor Akugu and Jampo and Co. for doing what is ethically and morally right. Today is an ignominious day in the history of organized labor in this country.
You say today is an ignominious day in the history of organized labor. Will you take organized labor seriously henceforth?
No, they are not worth the paper on which their names are written.
Organized labor is not worth the paper on which its name is written.
Yes.
Aren't those two strong words?
Well, when you deceive a nation, when you don't think through your negotiation position with government, and you create an impression that you are working on principles that seek to prevent a major environmental catastrophe that is looming, and you use the most infantile of excuses to pull the rug from under your own members. And from what Professor Kugu and his people are saying, there was almost no consultation. So there are no words strong enough to describe this letdown, this disgrace. But I think it fits into a pattern that has been happening for quite some time. It's most unfortunate. And how they think they can win back the trust, and more importantly, the respect of the people that they have let down so disastrously, we shall wait to see.
Thanks for making those initial points. Let me go to Professor Akurugu. Are you disappointed, for starters, by the position of the rest of organized labor? You in UTAG are starting your strike indefinitely from today. Are you disappointed that it has come to this? Hello, Professor Akurugu, if you can hear me, sir. That question was for you.
Sorry. Yes. I think let me at least thank our senior Professor Eni for the kind words. For disappointment, I think every Ghanaian is disappointed, and UTAG also rightly so. But of course, the truth is that we already knew that this may happen, and so we stayed close on glued to our internal processes, and ensure that we are not swindled in any way. And so we may be disappointed, but we are not surprised, though, because the signs were there for those who were critical to see it. And as university lecturers and academics, ours is, piecing, actions and activities here and there and making sense out of it. And so all the actions, we have been, putting the pieces together and making sense out of it and deciding which is the best way to go. And I think we have been successful in doing that. And definitely, we are in this, and we know the implications of what it is, and we know what we want, and we'll pursue it to a logical conclusion as long as the members of the academic community who are across the 15 public universities that constitute the University Teachers Association of Ghana majority of who continue to say that we should proceed on this action. We are duty bound to show leadership and to make sure that we follow through whatever their demands are.
You say you are disappointed but not surprised. Why were you not surprised?
You see, when the, as I said, the signs were very clear from the beginning. We have participated in meetings, and we know what happens. We know how, for example, in this fight, right, transparency is very important. And once there is a sign of lack of transparency anywhere, it's going to crumble. For example, whatever that I say to you now, you call any member of the National Executive Committee of UTAG, they will tell you the same thing. Call any member of the National Executive Council. There are about 78 members of National Executive Council of UTAG. Call any member and they'll tell you the same thing because there's nothing to hide. But when you have a situation where, there is that kind of situation where only a select you have some information and then they come and tell you what, all that. It doesn't engender trust. And that definitely, we saw it coming. And so that is why UTAG decided to continue with its original plan, because we issued our statement on the 9th of September, before organized labor GDS on the 11th, which aligned with our initial or our pressure and our demands. And we decided to just go along with organized labor. But we still have to do that within the context of our own rules and regulations that govern our operations. And so, again, as to whether we are disappointed as you are asking, and yes, every Ghanaian is disappointed as our actions, but surprised we are not.
Surprised you're not. Which leads to my next question. You and UTAG are sticking to your guns, but was there any influence from any quarters in this process? Was there any influence from anywhere?
Now, let me use this opportunity to tell the politicians and those who want to rule Ghana that we see it as a very insult, and we take an exception to what those particle soldiers are doing, and that UTAG can never be influenced by anybody. And we believe in fairness, we believe in rule of law, we believe in following due process. How are you going to influence the over 2,000 members across the campuses who voted yes for the strike? How are you going to do it? So if any other group can be influenced by our process, and we know, and that is why we made our constitution the way it is, so that not a few group of people can speak of the situation and do anything and hold any government to ransom or anything. That is why we insist that it is members who must vote to decide, and those members cut across the political divide. And so for anybody to even conceive and think that there can be political influence, we are doing the building of a political party, it is a very big insult to the intellectual community of the country, and we take an exception to that. And they should stop it.
Okay, so you are saying that you were not under any influence, that no group of people, no political grouping can influence you. But how about the other side? How about those who now have decided we will not lay down our tools? In fact, there have been accusations and counter-accusations, claims and counterclaims. Have you heard of anything about whether, as some people from the grapevine are saying, that some people received certain packages and that is why they led their teams out of this? What is your reaction to that?
As an academic, I believe in evidence. I do not have any evidence to support that anybody has been given any package. And so I would not want to get into somebody in a package to act in a certain way or not. What we know is that UTAG made some demands. We have tried our best to ensure that we give government the opportunity to act. That never came. And we proceed as such. And we have not been influenced. Nobody has contacted us to influence us in any way. And we are proceeding on that line. Anybody who is alleged to have been compromised or given whatever goodies and the rest of it, well, it's to them and their God and their conscience. Because at this point, it's all about God. And the question is, what do I tell my students when I go and stand before them to talk about environmental sustainability and how to promote environmental sustainability? What am I going to tell them? With what is happening, that with all that knowledge and what have you, I'll come and tell you, one day laugh at me. When you enter University of, go to, what do you call it? University of Science and Technology, or go to University of Mines and Technology, and you are talking about sustainable mining. All those things. What you are telling your students what? When you have this level of devastation, this havoc, this genocide that is going on, and then you say you want to go and teach sustainability, you want to go and take responsible mining and all that. My brother, they should give us some respect. Those politicians who think that they can make political capital out of it. They can deal with any other, but for you that to stay up, to stay clear. Otherwise, we will not have it.
I get it. It makes nonsense of all of these things you may be teaching because they are not even applicable in the environment we have. But just quickly before I move back to Professor Inning, you call it genocide. Some people have called it ecocide, ecological genocide. You are not satisfied with government's actions, and that's why you are embarking on this. But how long will this go? It's an indefinite strike. Do you have any timelines in mind, though it is indefinite? And is it because you were not satisfied with the points made by government that you still had to go on the strike?
Yes, we are not satisfied. For example, let me ask the question of, you are sending the security people to the field. What is their marching order? What are they supposed to do? If they should go and then when they see people mining, they have to go and ask them, do you have a license to mine? If you produce a license, continue. If you don't, they will sack you. What is it? How are they going to operationalize whatever they are going to do on the field? How effective will that be? So we're simply saying that there is a ban. I mean, we're not asking for forever ban. We're asking for temporary ban. Put a temporary ban on all forms of mining in forest reserves, in water bodies, and on farmland.
Right.
So that if the security, when they get there, they don't need to be asking who is doing what and who is doing. Look, you are not even supposed to be there. Then let's get back on the table, do a broad stakeholder engagement from the community up, from bottom up, to determine how we can ensure sustainable and responsible mining. And it's even possible, okay, if you say you are doing legal mining, we should be able to know whether you are doing responsible legal mining. If you are doing responsible legal mining, then we can let you go back. After we have sat down and we have defined the parameters and the performance indicators and all that. Well, how difficult is it?
Okay. And I get your point. But so far, you can't give us any timelines, right?
We cannot give timeline because the timeline depends on what government does. I mean, if government today gets and says, look, we are putting a ban on mining in these areas, the next moment we will call off the strike. That one, I can assure you, within minutes, we can organize and a council meeting, and we decide. Look, at the end of the day, what do we want? We want real action. We want something that is practicable and implementable. We don't want, we teach theory, and we teach practice, and we teach implementation science. We know when you say you are going to do this, we know that in implementation it cannot work. We know. And so all that have been indicated in terms of deployment of the research, operationally, it is not going to be effective.
All right.
So if we are sure that whatever that you are saying with this action, there will be operational efficiency and effectiveness, what do we want to... Look, we are not happy going on strike. There's to know that some of us are also parents. We have our children in the schools.
Okay.
We are not happy. Nobody is interested in going on strike. Because
right.
we want to work. And we want to build the next generation of responsible citizens for the country. And we cannot go and be teaching environmental sustainability and sustainable money and those things when this is happening and we are sitting in the classroom and talking about theory.
Okay. Prof, we're very grateful for adding your voice to this conversation, and we wish you the very best. Professor Mahmoud Akudugu is National President of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Let me go back to Professor Enning. My apologies for staying away from you for a while, but we had to let them situate the conversation in their context. So they have embarked on an indefinite strike. Catholics tomorrow are joining forces in the Archdiocese and beyond in a prayer protest walk, starting from the Holy Spirit Cathedral to the Jubilee House and then Christ the King Church. Grassad is joining that protest. You have other groups, the Pentecostals, also joining. Where does this leave us in the fight against Galamsey and the actions enumerated by government? Do they spell any positive note in terms of the fight against Galamsey, Professor Enning? Hello, Prof. Can you hear me? You may have to unmute. Professor Enning, if you can hear me, I'm trying for the last time to get your thoughts.
Hello?
Yes, Prof.
Good. So let me start with the government side. There is nothing new there, and I think it is part of the tactic to delay without any specific set of intervention to pull us back. In terms of the Legislative Front organized labor, I think those groups that are going ahead to demonstrate their concerns must be supported. And I think it's critical that that pressure is sustained. Because what we are seeing needs change in the standard. It needs pressure on the government. And I'm very confident that our government not doing anything now in December, and certainly until July. Because you can see the way that those who are engaged themselves are becoming politically active and supporting different parties or different actors in this election. Now, political choices are made based on those who support particular people. And most have made the point that what citizens are concerned about is none of their business. They are targeting those who make policy, who ensure that and will protect it. Or so the actual life are there. On the one side, the second Ghanaians who are beginning the second part, so responsible and I'm the word for and the few people that is national part that some of them organized now who are looking at the ability of the people, not emphasize, genocide, or the expression that is for sure. So between now and the end of the year, we will see at least of the
I am losing a lot of what you're saying, but I want clarity on what you were just saying. Between now and the end of the year, what? I wish I could hear you better there.
Well, there's going to be a lot of demand of government. There'll be an estimation of demand to that.
Unfortunately, I still can't hear you. There's going to be a lot of...
Hello?
Yes, it's better now. I just want to catch what you're saying. There's going to be a lot of what?
There's going to be a lot of pressure, sustained pressure on government.
Okay.
To do something about this mining, because the effects are going to continue to grow. People will feel the negative impact, and the demand will simply be there. The difficulty for most people is that government has not been to the opportunity. Oh, we are going to report it more. And even when organized people using the licenses were being so subtract this effect.
Okay.
Are important in the practice. It's very often. It's really very often. But it's not going to improve.
Okay. Prof, we're immensely grateful. We know you're on the move, but we're grateful that you took the time to speak to us. He says, though, there's going to be sustained pressure on government all the way to the end of the year. Well, that is Professor Kwesi Enning, a security analyst. Let me bring in Senyo Hosi. Senyo is one of those leading the Red Band protest against Galamsey, a campaign by the Ghana Coalition against Galamsey. Mr. Hosi, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you all for the good work you're doing in this fight to save our nation and to restore our environment.
Let's talk about your reaction, Senyo, to how things have panned out. Of course, the accusations have come through about who took what or who did what. But looking at where we are and the backtracking of organized labor, though you have UTAG continuing with this effort, where does that leave the fight against Galamsey and the pressure on government?
The call on all of us is an individual call as citizens, not as an organized labor or not. We've always had the support of labor from time to time over issues of national concern. It's unfortunate that they don't seem as organized as they should be at this time. But I don't think it's a material matter. Our environment is not being destroyed for the good or bad of one particular group of people. It's being destroyed for all of us. The call on us to defend the good name of Ghana and to defend our country is a call on every citizen, as you foremostly as a Ghanaian, not you as a member of a TUC or something of that sort, not at all. So I doff my hat to the Ghanaians at UTAG who are sustaining the conscience of us as a country. We are here to let you know that everyone can do something about it. And that needs us to partake in this protest. We will not get the Ghana that we want if we do not fight for it. What is at play, it's not something that just easily meets the eye. There's so much interest you have to fight against, including interests that run our country. My fellow citizens, it's not time to sit at home and sleep and talk and gossip. It's time for us to stand for our country, for the future of our children. The least we can do is to partake in this Red Band protest. Every single board person from Sunday to Saturday should flag something that's red in protest. On Fridays, we are calling on every Ghanaian to wear red. We are restoring the Red Friday campaign. We have to send a signal to the political and policy elite that the actions that are needed to sustain the future of our children are actions that are needed now, and they must advocate and be seen to be acting. They must do it and act appropriately. We make clear demands together with the coalition, the media coalition against Galamsey, who are members of the Ghana coalition against Galamsey. Their advocacy was very clear. Please, one, get this state of emergency up and running. We've not had the cooperation from government. There's some effort saying that I will do this, I will do that, I will do that. We are dealing with politicians whose plans have been far advanced and have been in pipelines in like only God knows how long. The future of our children is now. The water we drink is now. Even the Belacqua or the Awake or whichever bottled water that you are drinking today, you can't even trust what you are drinking. Look at the water bodies. Look at what you are displaying on the screen. Look at our forest reserve. Look at how it's being depleted recklessly and irresponsibly. We must define Galamsey properly. Galamsey is not just illegal mining. It's illegal and irresponsible mining. If people have taken licenses fraudulently or unconscionably in places and they say they have licenses to operate and this is destroying our environment, it is still Galamsey. The steps that are supposed to be taken are known. You don't even need, government did not need any of us to start advocating for them to start acting right. Sending this instruction from the state is taking us nowhere. So till we see real action on the ground, we see our water bodies transforming, we see the chamfans being burnt, we see government arresting all those political elites, both in the MPP and in the NDC. We are not stopping our protest. And this is just phase one. We are going to scale this up. I don't think Nana-Addo wants this to be his legacy. He should get it very, very clear. Nana, you are living, you came with Calipo. When you were coming, you were drinking Calipo and we're voting for you. Bring Calipo. We'll be sacking you with brown water. Because that is the future you want for my children. It's wickedness. So every single person who is a Ghanaian, it is time for you to partake in this protest. It is not a political action. We are not interested in MPP or NDC. It will not take us anywhere. Both parties are culpable in this matter. You don't see strong advocacy from either of the parties. We are on our own and we must fight for our future and the future of our children. Partake in the red band. Start today. Wear something red. Get a red band. Tie it on your car. Take a red band, a red hat. Wear it on Sunday. Please, everybody who can wear a red dress. We want to call on the churches. Call on the Islamic society. Please, on Fridays, on everybody's religious days, commission your church members to wear red. The politicians should see that we are having enough of this governance abuse. Because what is at stake? While they make money in their pockets, they have their own political apparatchiks and friends and business friends proceed and they progress in their pockets. What is happening is a retrogression of our future and our children's future. This is time to fight for Ghana. So everybody, even if you're a company, you're a businessman, encourage your staff to wear red on Fridays. If you're a pastor, get your members to wear red to church on Sunday, the coming Sunday. Let us all partake in this and send the message clear that we have had enough. Can you imagine while we are advocating here, we have ministers like Mreku Duka, who we use our taxpayers' money to pay, advocating, counter-advocacy against Galamsey, in favor of Galamsey. So we continue to degrade our forests as well as destroy our water bodies.
But Senor, what you just said, do you have evidence of that?
You've heard his speeches. What is this minus advocacy? You've heard it. Trying to suggest that people are sitting in Accra and trying to create this as an elitist, a class war. This is not a class war. The people sitting in the Galamsey areas who are also making money of it, they should check their own water. They should check their own water. I'm a farmer. I know the implications of what is happening. I know how peasant farmers are suffering. So please, it's not time for us to make this a class society war where we are trying to pitch people in Galamsey sites against people in Accra. As he keeps saying, let's all stop this thing. Let's all stop this thing. What is at stake here is Ghana. Nothing else. What is at stake here is Ghana. I'll tell you a story so you know. I had a conversation with somebody in the Galamsey area. And you know what they think? They think that life is not even advancing for them. Do you know why he thinks life is advancing for him? Because now he can buy bottled water and he doesn't need to go and drink water from the river. You see how warped our thinking is? That today he can buy bottled water coming from Accra. So it is life as not other than taking water from his river. And talking so other than he telling us he's processing water from his river. So he doesn't care.
Right.
Because as far as he's concerned, his life has now become like the Accra people.
Well,
this is the kind of communication is going body.
Speaking of water,
let us all fight for Ghana now.
Speaking of water, before I let go of you, you know the lands minister, he drinks tap water every day. So
please, I beg you, That is a lie. Nobody should tell me that. I visit all these politicians. I know the kind of water they drink. Please, they shouldn't tell us that story. Water.
But why? Are you there with him when he
They
drinks?
should all stop lying. They are lying. I'm telling you, they are lying. Whether left or right, all of them, I visit them. They drink bottled water. Some of them drink Voss. Do you know Voss? It's imported bottled water.
I know Voss. Yes, I do.
Please, 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 stop. I don't want to be angry this morning. I'm having a rough day enough. I won't add this one to my problems, please.
Senor Hosi, thank you.
Don't come and lie to the people of Ghana.
So this is a peaceful, indefinite protest. And it's indefinite for you. You are calling on all Ghanaians to join this. Is there going to come a point where you also want to pour out on the streets, or what exactly? Just a final bit.
It is a phased engagement. We'll reach there. And if they want to see 1 million boots on ground, they will see it. If they want us to overwhelm Jubilee House, they will see it. That is not what we are asking for. We are asking everybody to be reasonable, to be fair to the present and to the future. What is at stake here is the future of Ghana. I think Nana-Addo wants to leave a better legacy. It should be the president that started turning around this before he left. He put aside any kind of political pressure and just focused on Ghana for one of the few times in his life. Like I said, Nana-Addo doesn't want to come with Calipo and leave with brown water. And that is what he's doing right now. And I don't think that's what he deserves. He wants to have a better legacy. It should show us that he's with us at this moment. And he's going to set right the tone on how to address this very sensitive matter. It's politically dicey. We respect that. But that is not what's going to turn things around. We are not here for politics. We are here for the sustenance of our children and our children's children. If we do not fight for Ghana, who will? If we do not fight for the Ghana we want, we will never have it. It is time for everybody to rise up and start fighting for Ghana. I call on Bawumia, I call on Mahama. All of you, join the Red Band movement and talk to your appointees to stop spilling irresponsible speak about this matter. It's time for us to restore our water bodies, save our environment, so there's a Ghana that our children can grow up in.
My very final bit to you, since you are this vocal and you want to make a point with people even putting on clothes, red headbands, red armbands, and the rest, there are some protest walks that have been organized. Tomorrow, the Catholics are starting from the Holy Spirit Cathedral at 10 a.m. They will end at the Jubilee House around 2 p.m. and then end it all right opposite at Christ the King. We are calling this.
I encourage anybody who can make the time. You don't need to be Catholic because the environment that is being destroyed is not Catholic.
Right.
Everybody should join them if you can. All right. But at a minimum, participate in the Red Band protest for now. Would advise on a weekly basis what the next steps are. Change your DP, put it up red. Our flyer on the Red Band is available. You can go to my status if you have my WhatsApp contact. You can go to my Twitter feed, you find it. Joy FM, I'm sure you've also put something up already. Take it and use it as your DP. Let policy makers, let security operators, let the judges wake up every morning and realize how sensitive this matter is to you. They are here to represent and advocate for that which is good for us as Ghanaians, not as politicians. Let them know where we stand on this matter. Don't sit in your rooms and speak and be putting up fun videos and fun photos. Please, at a minimum, let everybody know where you stand. Change your DP. So, Akapo, this your dress, you have to fix it. This yellow is taking me nowhere. It even reminds me of Galamsey. So please try and get something red next time. The next time I speak to you. Because I believe you really support this cause. Thank you.
I really do, and I will be joining the rest of my Catholic brothers and sisters tomorrow. Thank you very much, Senor Hosi.
I'll be joining you too.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you there. Senor Hosi is one of the leaders spearheading the Red Band protest against Galamsey. Let us bring in Daryl Bosu. He is with Arusha, Ghana. And you must give credit to Arusha, Ghana. They've been talking about the environmental destruction for a long time. Now, things have come to a head. Daryl, good morning. Can you hear me, Daryl Bosu? If you can hear me, please unmute, Daryl Bosu. Daryl, if you can hear me, please indicate you can hear me.
I can hear you, Benjamin. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Let's start with where we are now, the state of our environment, the collapse of organized labor, at least taking out UTAG, and everything else that has happened, the purported enhanced measures that government is taking. How do you feel about all of these developments?
Thank you, Benjamin. I think we need to understand the kind of support organized labor has brought to this campaign. I think they're giving us sufficient leverage. We've been able to harness the leverage of organized labor to get government to take certain actions. Not everything has been met, not all our demands have been met, but for us, we think it's very progressive, and we don't have to see it as a dent in the campaign. What I see is a big opportunity. Now government has made some commitment. It's time now for us to demand some clear timelines and indicators. Because what government has said so far is for us unclear, apart from making a statement that we'll be doing something, we'll be deploying the military, as to when they are going to do it, how they are going to do it, the timeline for the action, and when it will cease and all of that. Nothing has been communicated. But so now we have the leverage. It's time for us to take it to the next step. And so for us, I think it's a very progressive action, and we are happy that organized labor has given the support, and we know that they are not going to rest. We are going to keep monitoring together, and eventually we are going to bring in a bigger push after this.
Now, where do we go from here? The military is being deployed. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister says there will be river guards. Even the Navy will be on hand. We do know that in the past, some of these same officers have been compromised. Some people are asking, Operation Halt what? We have done this before. It didn't get anywhere. Do you think this will solve, this renewed interest will solve the problem?
Benjamin, I think you've asked very good questions, and it's right that you are cautious, and we are also very cautious about the current actions. What is important is the fact that we as citizens monitor what government has committed to do. At the moment, deploying these men on the ground, I think that's why we're also asking to really be in the process, be very transparent about even the actions on the ground. We don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. So the caution is well placed, and we also agree with you. We want regular updates. We want to be at the table. We want to know who is doing what. We don't want to leave this to just the politicians taking action. We want some neutral citizens bodies to really watch and follow and ensure that the right things are being done. It is important, again, I say that we cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. Otherwise, this is just going to be a futile exercise. So, yes, we need to monitor. It's good they are deploying. That's a good start anyway. But let's make sure that it is sustained, it is efficient, and it's effective. And this is the only way we are going to deal with it. So we are going to keep watching, we are going to keep monitoring, and we are going to demand accountability for every team that is going to be deployed on the field.
What other matters what other actions do you want to see in the coming days, in the coming weeks, in terms of piling pressure on government to do the right thing?
Yeah, I'm sure Senor has already said it. We, the citizens, are going to continue the pressure. The Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, we are going to be monitoring from behind the scenes, and we're also going to ask citizens to rally behind us. The Red Band protest is on. You should support us. But again, I think what we are going to do, we are going to be getting back to government to understand some of the clear timeline for the actions being determined. We know we have a clear timeline for the revocation of LI 2462, but we need to understand when the military or whatever team is put in place are going to raid our forest reserves and our rivers of any mining activity. We need to have some clear timeline. So I think behind the scenes, a lot of work is going to go on. We are going to keep engaging with organized labor. This is not the end. This is actually the beginning of the leverage they've given. We are going to push harder. Several other professional bodies are going to pitch in, and this is where we are going to focus our energies and also strengthen the campaign. So I think it's just for us a beginning, and as we go on, more information will be given out to the public.
Daryl, we're grateful for your time with us this morning. Aluta continua. The fight continues. That is Daryl Bosu, Deputy Director at Arusha, Ghana. So this morning has been quite a conversation. We had Professor Mahmoud Akurugu joining the conversation, UTAG National President. We also had joining the conversation Professor Kwesi Enning. We've just interacted with Darryl Bosu, and we had Senyo Hosi as well, leading that campaign, Don Something Red, show your angst against this fight. But stay with us. When we return, there will be a lot more action as we talk about our latest installment of the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair. We'll be back.